What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. It's officially been a few hours since the deadline hit and passed. I wanted to give it a little bit of time to make sure that any buzzer beating franchise tags could have a chance to be known. But at this point, I think we have all the information we need. So the franchise tag window has closed officially. There is now no way to franchise tag any players this offseason. The deadline has come and gone. And we obviously know the Seahawks didn't need it. They had two players they could have tagged in Myers and Geno. Ended up not needing it for either of them. They are both long-term members of this organization. And, well, Geno might be long-term. We'll see exactly what the contract ends up saying. But we don't need the tag for neither of them. And overall, there were not quite as many franchise tags utilized this offseason as I thought. So I wanted to go over some of the players that did get tagged from a Seahawks perspective. There are a few different angles here, a few different elements at play, and I thought it would be cool to go through the handful of guys that did get tagged and see what the ramifications might be for the Seahawks. All right. So the first player, Lamar Jackson. This was the big one. This is the most interesting one probably. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson are far, far apart on a contract extension, so they decided to slap the franchise tag on him. And I don't know if he's going to be willing to play on the tag. If he's smart, I'm sure he won't. This is a player who has, despite the issues that there have been, like only winning one playoff game, he has far outplayed his rookie deal. He has stayed on that rookie deal far longer than just about any other player would, and he needs to get paid now. He needs some long-term security as soon as he can get it. Obviously, at this point, the Seahawks would have had no interest in Lamar Jackson, so we don't really care if he gets tagged. However, one bit of news that came out of the franchise tagging of Lamar is a collection of teams not being interested in pursuing him. The Panthers, the Raiders, and the Falcons, per multiple sources, are not expected to go after Lamar Jackson. And I also, from another source, heard the Commanders do not want Lamar Jackson. So what I'm trying to say here is those teams, each one of those teams that says no to Lamar is one more team that might really, really, really want to trade up to number 5 with the Seahawks to draft a quarterback. So I consider that good news. One way or the other, Lamar is going to be starting somewhere next year. Next season now. But if he doesn't go to any one of these teams and just stays in Baltimore, it makes it easier and juicier for us to trade our pick. All right, so that's the big one. Tony Pollard also got the franchise tag, just a basically $10 million franchise tag. No interest there, obviously. Like, we need a running back, but Tony Pollard specifically, no. Like, why? I don't see the point there. Evan Engram also got tagged. No interest there personally. He had a good year. No hate, but we don't really need a tight end. If we do need a tight end, it would be somebody cheap, not a veteran who would want big money. And clearly Evan Engram wants big money if he got tagged. So no real interest there, no real ramifications there. The one guy on this list, and we've known about this for a while now, of course, Duron Payne, that's the one guy the Seahawks could have conceivably gone after. I don't know if they would have because it's so much money. It would have been really hard to make work under the cap. It would have been possible, though. I want to stress that. I want to make that very clear here. It would have been possible to get Duron Payne. I don't know if we would have wanted to. However, that being said, with him being tagged, I will admit that even though I might be willing to trade for him and then sign him, the Seahawks are going to be hard-pressed to do so because it's probably going to cost your second first-round pick. So, Duron Payne getting tagged, that's the one player that I could have seen maybe the Seahawks going after and desiring. At the very least, we would have desired it. I don't know if we would have done anything about it, but we would have desired it. So now he's getting tagged. It makes it a lot less likely, and there are probably better paths to go at this point anyway. We also had Josh Jacobs, nice running back, gets the $10 million franchise tag. No interest there. Good player, of course, but when it comes to running backs, the second contract is just almost always going to be a bad idea. And it's not necessary. We have a really good running back on this team, and he should only be getting better. We need players to complement him. We don't need more. We don't need to stack a bunch of superstars in this backfield. We need players who are going to complement what we have. So no real interest there. And the final guy to get the franchise tag is another running back. It's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley gets hit with a tag. No interest there. No interest there whatsoever. Again, he's a running back. And unlike maybe Tony Pollard because of the big injury he had in the playoff game, and Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley has massive injury concerns lingering over his head. Fun player for sure, but there are way too many red flags with Saquon, so definitely had no interest there. So at the end of the day, you look at this list and you go, okay, there's not a lot of interest here. Now, there's one thing that I absolutely have to comment on when it comes to the Saquon Barkley franchise tag, and I will now do so. The reason why they were able to place the tag on Saquon is because they came to a long-term agreement with Daniel Jones. They gave him his contract. 4 years, $160 million, with additional incentives that can go up to $195 million. So, I don't want to hear nothing about Geno Smith this offseason. I'm serious. I don't want to hear anything about Geno Smith in the comments. I don't want to hear a word about Geno Smith's contract ever again. The New York Giants just gave $40 up to $50 million a year to slightly more mobile, slightly taller Mitchell Trubisky. I don't want to hear it. And I like Daniel Jones. He's a cool dude. Seems like a cool dude. I like him. I'm rooting for him. But I don't want to hear a word about Geno Smith's contract again. Ever. From anybody. Under any circumstance. This is what's going on in the QB market right now. And we got Geno Smith for 25 up to 35. Yeah. If you weren't feeling great about that Geno extension before, you should feel ecstatic about it now. And again, I like Daniel Jones. But bottom line is this. You compare the numbers, it's not even close. You compare the numbers that these guys had last year, not even remotely close. Okay. So, back to the tagging business, the more pertinent information here. That's just kind of an amusing anecdote. And, shout out to the Giants for completely wrecking the QB market. Okay, real quick here. What is Joe Burrow going to get? What is Joe Burrow going to get? Serious question. Put your answers in the comments. One guy who did not get tagged, who could have gotten tagged, that is very interesting to me personally, would be Draymond Jones of the Broncos. They decided not to tag him. And that means he's likely going to be a free agent. And I'll tell you this right now. If you make Draymond Jones the centerpiece of your free agency haul somehow, if you can make that work, he's not going to cost as much as a Duron Payne does. He's not going to be a tier 1 guy. He's probably closer to tier 2. That is something that would get me out of my seat. That is something that would get me pumped up. So make that happen. Make it happen. Go after him, at least take a shot there, see if you can make a deal work with him, and I'm pretty happy. So I'd say this franchise tag session came out pretty good for the Seahawks. I'm feeling pretty good about where they are. There were a few players who I thought might get tagged, mainly Draymond Jones, who did not, and now hopefully the Seahawks at the very least consider setting their sights on some of these top-end players. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think about all this. A lot of quality players becoming free agents soon.